Welcome to this brief introduction to the new Salina Virtual Innovation Academy. My name is Tracy Hutton and I'm the principal. Thank you so much for taking the time to learn about this exciting new opportunity for Salina students. What we'll discuss in this video is our why. I'll introduce you to our team, our location, talk a little bit about our virtual model and the assurances we need from our students and parents, how you can get started, and then where you can go to get more answers. All right, so first of all, we have an amazing team of teachers starting this year. These are our elementary teachers. We have Nicole Skidmore, who will be doing kindergarten through second grade. She was a remote teacher this past year. We have Alyssa Cruther. She's coming from another district. She's going to do third and fourth grade. And we have Wade Burlew, who was also a remote teacher this past year. He's going to do our fifth and sixth grade. Our secondary teachers, we have Julie Russell, who was a remote math teacher this past year. Victoria Kelly is coming to us from South High. Janine Litton is coming to us from South High. And Alan Randalls is coming to us from another district. These will be our high school and middle school teachers. This year, we're going to be located at Oakdale Elementary. Oakdale's student population is down a bit, so they have some empty classrooms. And so we will be located, our elementary offices and secondary offices will be on the second floor of this picture that you're seeing. Our elementary classroom space will be on the first floor to the right of that door that you see there. And our secondary classroom will be, is not pictured in here, but it is also on the second floor. So we will have classroom space for some in-person activities, which I'll speak to in just a minute. The first question I always get, though, is why open a virtual school in Salina? And so there are several reasons for this. The primary answer to that question, though, is to fill a need. Because over the past couple decades, we've seen a upward spike in enrollment for full-time virtual schools. So across the country, there's been a demand for more and more virtual schools. The graph that you see here is even prior to 2015. So this is not even counting the huge spike that we saw with COVID. So there's a demand that we are having a lot of parents wanting this option for their students. And since Salina doesn't have that option, they are turning to outside districts, outside areas. So we really want to meet that need right here in Salina. We believe that Salina has top level schools, and we can then meet those needs. There may be very different reasons why each family would want a virtual option. And so we want to meet that. We want to keep virtual learning decisions here locally, and we want to use our own 305 teachers. In some programs, not around here, you may have a teacher that is in a different state in a virtual program. We want to keep them local teachers, local learning decisions. So because there's this need, we want to fill this need, but do it in an innovative way. We want to fill the need through innovation. There's increased pressure on schools to work on building innovators. We are currently preparing our kids for jobs that may not even exist yet. So how do we do that? How do we prepare kids for technologies and for problems that we don't even know are problems yet? And so we have to identify what are those core things they need to be those innovators, to be those problem solvers. And so we want to fill this need through innovation. We believe that virtual learning is innovative. It should be personalized, very flexible, and heavily parent involved. We do not believe virtual learning is students sitting learning from a screen all day. There is a portion of that, obviously, but it should not be the whole time spent in front of the screen. It should not be exactly like in-person learning, but just at home. And it is not suitable for every family or student situation. So when we sat down to come up with our program, we said, why not take advantage of the things that virtual offers, all the flexibility of that virtual format offers, and let's do something unique. Let's do something special for our students. And so that's what we did, and that's what I want to talk about next. So the motto of the Salina Virtual Innovation Academy is "The world is our classroom." So instead of students going to a classroom to learn in any of our great schools here in Salina, we're going to look to the world as our classroom. And so a lot of our assignments, a lot of our curriculum is going to be geared towards where can we also see this in the world? And what are some things we can do and some learning experiences we can have outside there, out in the world. So our curriculum is going to be in 3 parts. There will be that online curriculum that most people think of in a virtual environment. We're going to use a software called Acellus for our kindergarten through 6th grade, and we're going to use Edgenuity for our middle and high school. So there will be online curriculum, and it will vary by the content, by the subject, by the grade level. All of that will vary a little bit, but that is one part of our curriculum. Another part of our curriculum is live sessions and in-person opportunities. And so this is why we have that classroom space that I spoke to earlier. We want to bring kids in to collaborate on projects, to get extra help, to do some real-world problem solving, to do some makerspace, to have some community members come in and do some teaching on things that they're have expertise in. So we wanted that classroom space because we do think it's important to get kids together and to collaborate. How often this is still yet to be determined. And again, it will depend on grade level, course they're taking, and all of those things. And then another part of the curriculum is what I'm calling PBL experiences. But the P can stand for a lot of different things. I highly recommend the book Creating Innovators by Tony Wagner. In it, he talks about how innovation is a process. It's a continuum. It really begins with play, and then moves to passion, and then moves to purpose. And so we wanted to make sure and embed that progression of innovation into our curriculum. So we're at the elementary level, we're really going to focus on play. And so play, we're not talking about, playing on the computer necessarily, but we're talking more about the things that, we often did when we were bored, right? You go outside and you do experiments, you run the lemonade stand, whatever, you come up with this big idea and you want to do it. But it's play. You're figuring things out. You're seeing what works and what doesn't work. And, you try, you fail, you move on, and it's all fun. And then at the middle school level, we want to focus on passions. So with middle school students, they're often have passions, and they get deeply involved in their passions. And then all of a sudden they change and they go to something else. We want to go ahead and embrace that. And we want to let them kind of explore some of those passions. The thing that passion does that builds innovators is passion teaches us to learn on our own. Passion is the great motivator, right? It's that great intrinsic motivator. So we want to embrace that and let them follow passions because it does teach them a lot of things about learning on their own. At the high school level, we want to move on to purpose. And so purpose is taking all the things that you're learning and actually seeing it make a difference in the community. And it doesn't have to be like a social issue. But just seeing that you do impact, that you can have an impact on something based on what you've learned. And so it's putting those things into practice in a real world context. Now, play, passion, and purpose have a role at each of those levels. And so it's not that we're exclusively doing one at each of those levels, but those are going to be the focus. And so our teachers are going to embed things in the curriculum that allow for these things. We're also going to add some project-based and problem-based learning, some real world problem-solving skills in here, and all of that. So those are the 3 parts of the curriculum that will make up that school day or school week. It won't be just all sitting in front of the computer. So what we want to teach as innovators, we feel like when kids leave our school, they should have these core competencies. They should have these core skills. They're going to help them in whatever job they have. So communication, being able to effectively communicate, being able to collaborate, work with each other, get things done. Critical thinking, understanding bias, understanding thinking on your own, those things. Creative problem solving, actually taking a problem and finding a solution for it. Those are the core competencies that we're going to embed K-12. So in order to do all of this, parents are going to be incredibly, incredibly important in this environment. And so there's certain things that we will need from each parent to assure that this is an effective program. Parents are heavily involved in this. So one of the things we ask of parents is to assign a learning coach. So this could be the parent, or it could be another adult designee that is responsible for managing the at-home curriculum work. There is a small learning coach training course that we would ask them to complete before school starts to make sure that they have the skills that they need and the understanding of what this all involves. We ask that a reliable internet connection be provided. It needs to be high speed. This will not be provided like the school. Unlike in the remote setting where there was a need, the school provided it. In this case, we are asking parents to provide that. Regular communication is essential, that the parent or learning coach communicates problems early, responds to emails and inquiries pretty quickly, and keep contact information updated so that there's no delay there. And then assign a dedicated workspace. So this shouldn't be a bed. This should be a desk, a table, some place that is designated for schoolwork, that it's set aside for that. Preferably within the view of the learning coach. Now, this will depend on the different age level. Younger students will need somebody more sitting next to them. Older students, maybe within view, or maybe someone that just checks on them regularly, checks on their work, monitors their work, that kind of thing. But a dedicated workspace that is conducive to schoolwork. The student has their own set of assurances. And again, this will look a little bit different depending on the grade level. But we ask that students show integrity, give 100% effort, complete all assignments and requirements as directed, always doing their own work. We ask the students to be engaged, stay curious. In order to do this model effectively, we have to have that student curiosity, that student engagement. We want them to attend the virtual live sessions that are provided. We want them to keep to their schedule, and they will build the schedule during the first week, which I'll talk about in just a second. And we want them to get involved with the in-person opportunities. We also ask that they communicate regularly with teachers. They communicate problems early, and they respond to requests and inquiries also within the 24 hours during the school week. All of this is to reach the status of students in good standing. This is going to be our attendance measure. We're going to kind of look at attendance by the week. And so following all of these things will mean that the student is in good standing, that they maintain adequate progress through their coursework. And so whatever the teacher or the course assigns, that they're maintaining all of that. They're staying up on all of their work. They're not getting behind. That they attend virtual and in-person meetings, whether that's daily or weekly or any other in-person meetings that they attend, and that there's regular communication regarding anything. There's regular check-ins, those kinds of things. If all of those things are being done, students are considered in good standing and in full attendance. All right, so if all this sounds good to you, you may be thinking, how do I get started? So because the Salina Virtual Innovation Academy is a USD 305 school, we will use the same USD 305 enrollment process. If you are a current USD 305 family, you will be getting the enrollment packet in the mail soon, and online enrollment will begin July 13th. So if you get the packet, you can go online and enroll, and just like you would any other school at USD 305. If you are new to our district, you will not receive an enrollment packet. At the end of this presentation is my email address. Send me a quick email with your name, address, and phone number, and I will get you the information you need to get started. You do not have to enroll all of your students in the virtual school. If you have one student that wants to do virtual and the others want to do in person, that's perfectly fine. And those instructions will be on the enrollment. After enrollment, we will sit down and have an assurance conference. And this just goes through all of the things that we are expecting from the parents, we expect from kids. We make sure that this is really a good fit for you. Then when school starts for 305, we will have what's called onboarding week, or this may be a couple weeks. And so what onboarding is just making sure everybody's ready to go. So instead of jumping right into the curriculum, your assignments may be things like setting up your designated workspace, setting up your schedule, figuring out how this is going to work, figuring out, maybe even making sure that the technology works, making sure that you're able to get on, all of those things. Those will be the assignments the first couple of weeks, communicating with teachers, meeting your classmates, those kinds of things. So we're calling that onboarding week, and it may be more than 1 week. So again, this is onboarding. So meeting your teachers, reviewing the procedures and expectations, solving problems, and building your schedule. So I wanted to go through some questions that we get a lot and make sure that they're all answered. So the first one is, are students required to participate in the on-site activities? The answer is yes. Throughout the year, there will be on-site activities that we will ask the students to participate in. One of those is state testing, and they will need to come on site for that. There will also be other workshops, student projects, and other enrichment activities that some will be required and some will be optional. Can students participate in activities at their assigned school? Well, students attending Salina Virtual are not eligible to participate in athletic or non-athletic activities that are regulated by the Kansas State High School Activities Association. And this is a situation with Keisha. It is being worked on, but for this year, they will not be able to participate in that. For more information on that, feel free to call the board office and someone can explain that to you a little more in depth if you have more questions on that. We are encouraging Salina Virtual students to take advantage of other community opportunities that are available, like the community theater, recreation leagues, private music classes, those kinds of things, as an alternate. So how much time should students be working on school each day? Well, according to the Kansas State Department of Education guidance, virtual students are expected to spend about 360 minutes a day on school-related activities. And so this is about what they would spend if they were in a building. However, we do not expect students to be sitting in front of the computer for 6 hours a day. So although it's going to vary a little bit by subject and grade level, a lot of these minutes are going to come from all 3 areas of our curriculum that I spoke to in a previous slide. They can come from some of the projects, some of the in-person learning, all of those 3 parts of the curriculum will be built into that time. So what happens if my student's not successful at virtual learning? We do understand that the virtual program is not for everybody, and we will do our best to try to gatekeep at the beginning so that we don't get people who really are not a good fit for virtual learning into the program. Should your student be accepted into the program and then struggle, we are committed to do everything we can to help them be successful. We will do an intervention plan. At the end of the semester, though, if it doesn't appear that those interventions are working, we will open the doors for them to return to their primary building. So can a student move from the virtual school at any time? And so the answer to that is no. We really want to restrict movement during this semester. We really want to do everything we can to be successful and to help them be successful. And so we are not allowing any enrollment after the first day of school into the virtual program or any exiting from the virtual program until the end of the semester. So at semester, if you decide it's not a good fit or the school decides, this just isn't a good fit, movement can be made at that time. So can students from outside USD 305 attend Salina Virtual Innovation Academy? Yes. to a certain extent. We will accept students from other districts in our region. We really do want this to be a local thing, and also we want students, to be able to come in and do those in-person activities. So we're setting about a 30-mile radius for students, and obviously transportation will not be provided, so they will need to make sure that they can also get transportation. Will virtual students have the same days off as other USD 305 students? Yes, we will follow the same school calendar as the rest of the district. This is a 305 school. Any school closures for inclement weather will also apply to virtual students, as our teachers will not be available. How often will students attend live virtual sessions? Well, that really depends on the course and the grade level of the students. Those things should be communicated during onboarding week, in the syllabus of the particular courses. That one really just depends. All right, so if you have any further questions, I want to give you my email address here. And you are welcome to email. If you email me and give me a phone number, I would be happy to call you back and we can chat over any of these questions that you have. I hope this was a nice introduction for you. I look forward to meeting you, and I thank you for your time.